Good afternoon. I'm R.G. Williams. Pleasure to be here. We're excited to be able to take some time, and I'm glad you stopped by. What I'd really like to address today is the opportunities that face us on a daily basis. There are so many opportunities, and most of us sit back and wonder which opportunity we should take. The thing I've come to realize is that the train of opportunity continues to run, and we decide where we get on and get off. It doesn't just knock once. You heard the statement that opportunity's knocking at the door. I think there comes a time where you need to open the door and figure out what time, what place, what location, how you're going to do that. The biggest challenge that most people face is that they're afraid to open the door because they're afraid of success. Why? Do you understand why you're afraid of success? Most people don't. That's the concern. That's the challenge. So you sit back and you do nothing. And in doing nothing, nothing happens. So there's an old statement out there in a story. You ever heard about the comfort zone? So many people in growing up, when I grew up early in the 70s and found that in my parents' house, the thermostat was mercury based and then also had spring-loaded tension springs inside, which would give you the ability to adjust the temperatures. In doing that, what the engineers found is years and years back is that the air conditioning was on at the same time the heat was on. And being on at that time, then you would get both of them functioning at the same time. So they came up with a plan that would separate, and there would be a separation zone that where the air would shut off, that would stay without anything happening, and the heat wouldn't come on. They termed this the comfort zone. Guess what happens in the comfort zone? Absolutely nothing. No air, no heat. Absolutely nothing. So I throw this out to you. What happens when you're in your comfort zone? Absolutely nothing. Now, here's what we want to address. The train of opportunity continues to run. You have to get inside you. You have to find out what makes you tick. In the book, The Secret, they talk a lot about the law of attraction. They talk about harnessing the law of attraction. I think you need to engage the law of attraction. The law of attraction continues to run. But the law of attraction is powered by a belief in self. Belief in self is what triggers law of attraction, which in turn what gives you a life of abundance. I'm sure you're sitting there on the outside going, yeah. We've heard all of this. So what makes you any different? I'll tell you something very simple. I am just the average type guy. I started in this over a decade ago. I was forced into understanding what the law of attraction, what abundance, what opportunities meant, simply because of the speed bump that was thrown in my way. The speed bump was titled divorce. Now, each of us have a story. I'll share briefly with my story. You can see the balance of the story or its entirety at the end of this on video clip. My story was simply this. I came from a great background. I was brought up very strong. I was brought in with very, very concerned, loving parents. One of the things they really pushed hard was education. I found out that I was not built for school. It did not function. It didn't work with me. It was always an internal turmoil with me. I would sabotage classes just simply so I could get out of classes. So once I got out of the required age K through high school, 12th grade, I made a decision not to further class. My parents, my dad being an executive vice president for a very large corporation, was very, very strong on education. My mom being a English major. So we were pushed in directions, we were guided and so forth. But I got started and knew that I would make more money with my mouth than my hands. So I got started in the business of sales, financial planning. Life came at me, it was great. I started building, having family. Then the divorce hit. The courts made a decision. At the end, my ex-wife got everything, including sole custody of my older 3 children. I, in turn, got the bills. So I found myself in a very small apartment, sleeping on an air mattress, making $6.86 an hour for a temporary job service where I was accustomed to $13,000 to $14,000 a month. Lost custody of my children, and I found myself sitting in a pity party. And I created one of the best self-pity parties, I believe, in history. And as I sat and wondered, great, when is the opportunity going to knock for me? When is Ed McMahon going to show up and knock on my door and hand me a check? And then reality slapped me hard and realized that that wasn't going to happen, that it was up to me, that I had to take a hold of my future. I had to take advantage of it. Opportunity did knock, and it knocked very loud. And you know what? I was pleased to the fact that I made the choice to open the door. Now, does that make me any better than anybody else? No. I just took advantage and took the opportunity, because you know what? People tell me it's an opportunity. People tell me that this is a new business opportunity. I can do this. You know what? I figured it was just simply an idea. An idea that I could put my head around. An idea, more importantly, that I could get my heart around. And that idea was the law of attraction, the law of abundance. I got in and I began to design what I wanted in the future. Then what I needed simply to do was come back in and have a true heart-to-heart talk with myself. Understand what made me click. And then the biggest piece of all, forgave myself, and time to move forward. I know some of you are probably watching this video and thinking to yourself, yeah, I like you lost my children. I was in a divorce. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was your loved one was diagnosed with something and passed away. Maybe there was a car accident. Maybe the infinite intelligence made a decision that took a loved one from you prior to the time that you were ready to let that loved one go. Doesn't matter. Maybe you're sitting there and going, hey, you know what? None of this stuff happened to me. I have okay, but I'm not making any money. I am just sitting back, and I know that one day my ship's going to come in. You know what? The ships don't come in. You may be living inland, but you don't have a port. The ship doesn't come to you. You've got to swim out to the ship. You've got to go to the... You know, life is an occasion, and you've got to rise to it. Either you do or you don't. Because you know what? My self-pity party lasted 6 months. It was January, cold, where I was sitting. I had to start a fire. I was sitting there, and I just knew that this shouldn't have happened to me. I was better than this. I was. You know what? I wasn't. What I was given a chance. And that chance was to find out who I, R.G. Williams, truly was to become. Not where I came from, not where I was sitting, but what I was to become. I had the opportunity, and only I could control that. And now I reverse that to you. You have the opportunity to find out who you are. Do you really know who you are? Have you ever taken the chance or the opportunity to sit down and really get honest and brutally honest with yourself? Have you? Because now's the time.